Okay.
Acting Captain Starlog, July 10th, 2174. After waiting for 3 days, we were able to get the surviving members of Captain Adrin's crew aboard the Zavaris, Captain Takar patrol cruiser. While working closely with the Doran's crew, I was constantly reminded that this could have been us. The Drake could have been the one drifting in that asteroid field, torn in two, a sobering thought. The Drake's current assignment is to dock at Starbase 2 and upgrade some of the needed systems. The manifest also states that we are to receive some goods and equipment from the USS Kiri-kin-tha, which has finally docked at the Starbase a week ago. Though the most pressing thing on my mind is the chilling communication I received this morning from Admiral Chapman at Starfleet Command. In this communication, I have been advised to meet with Admiral Foxwell to discuss Captain Knightley's situation. I hope what I've been told isn't as dire as it sounds.
Okay, yeah. So that's where we find you guys. You're on your way back to Starbase 2 after dealing with the adventures on the Doran from last time. Let me play the message from that you got. Let's find it if everybody hears it. Let me just pull it up correctly.
Commander, it appears my fears have come true. When I reached out to Captain Knightley to speak with her about the ongoing situation with Gary, and heard nothing, my suspicions grew. To my surprise, Admiral Foxwell knew nothing either. It wasn't until I tracked down your logs referring to the captain taking family leave. Commander, I implore you, find Captain Knightley. Return her to the Drake. Admiral Sidhav of Starfleet Intelligence has informed me of who Gary really is. So whatever Gary has told you is a lie. He is not to be trusted. I know communication with me is difficult. So please speak with Admiral Foxwell as soon as possible. She has been informed of the situation. And I would assume, by your use of specific words, that you know of Harper's truth. Take note Foxwell does not. My advice to you is to tread carefully. Not everyone is as open-minded as you would hope. I'm sure you understand the Endorian saying better than I can. A wise duelist keeps their second blade unseen. Find her, Commander, and bring her back. Admiral Chapman.
Okay. So,
Who's Knightley again?
so that is what you received, Mike, this morning. On your way to Starbase 2 this morning, you received that message. What we're going to do tonight is as the Drake docks with Starbase 2, we're going to be installing on the ship advanced research facilities. So that's going to be on the ship, which whenever anybody on the ship succeeds at a task to perform research and they are assisted by the ship's computers and science, they can ask two additional questions as if they had spent momentum to do so. And then the other one that's being added are transport inhibitors. So as long as they are active, transport onto or off of the ship, including materials, people, or anything else, will immediately fail. And in order for those things to not fail, they will have to be shut down. Okay, so we will start right off the bat with Arhat coming off of the Drake and entering Starbase 2, and assuming that you will go and meet with Admiral Foxwell.
Yes.
Okay. So you go into her like little side area where it's like the reception is. They key in that, Commander Arhat is here and the Admiral welcomes you in. And you see her standing there. It's early in the morning and she is like drinking some sort of beverage. And she says, Commander, please take a seat.
Thank you.
I got a communication from Admiral Chapman this morning saying that he had been trying to reach out to Captain Knightley, but last I heard from you, she was on family leave. Is that still the case? Is she still on family leave?
Yes, that is still the case.
Oh, okay. He didn't really go into great detail of why he needed to speak with her, but he said that I would meet with you this morning, and I figured you might have more information.
I only have bits and pieces of information. He didn't tell me a whole lot either.
Okay. Well, do you have a way of contacting Captain Knightley?
I can try. It's just whether or not she will respond immediately or not.
Okay. Let's see if we can get in communication with her by the end of the day, and we'll go from there.
Okay,
All right. Thank you very much, Commander.
thank you.
So you exit, and she pretty much expects by probably by the end of the day for you to let her know how reaching out to the captain went.
Yeah, and I will try and get a hold of the captain.
Yeah. Okay. So as you are probably, Mike, you'll end up either walking to probably them loading up things on the ship and overseeing these installations.
Yep.
But let's cut to Dr. House. Where would you be, Dr. House?
I would be on the Starbase, but I would be restocking medical supplies. We need more hypo sprays, need more quarantine jelly, all the basics.
Yeah. Okay. So, as you are collecting these medical supplies, you see coming kind of like to the side of you a female Vulcan.
Mm,
She is wearing traditional Vulcan garb, and she seems to be beelining right towards you.
nice. Do I recognize her?
Well, I don't think you would know if you looked at them what they look like.
Okay,
I don't think you would recognize them.
great. So I just ignore him.
Great. So, so you're standing there, and all of a sudden you hear Dr. House, I presume.
Then without even looking, I just say, in the flesh.
Is there another way?
I don't think so.
And she introduces herself as Talen. She goes, "Hello,
Hmm.
Dr. House. I am Talen. I am the psychiatrist that you have spoken to."
Well, yeah, it's good to meet you.
I see that you are questioning some things about Lieutenant Silva. Do you know where Lieutenant Silva is?
At the moment, I do not have any idea where Silva is.
Hmm. He is not here on the Starbase,
No, he is not here on the Starbase.
and nor is he on the Drake.
I cannot confirm or deny whether or not he is at his active station on the Drake.
Is this something that you have put into place?
As far as what? Him being here or there? What are you talking about?
Is his absence of your doing?
No, he's still an active member of the Drake, if that's what you're asking.
I find it suspicious that the chief medical officer knows nothing of where his crew is.
I My job is not to keep track of the crew of the Drake. My job is to keep the crew of the Drake healthy.
Fair point. Where is your Captain Knightley?
Well, as I have previously mentioned, I do not keep track of the crew's whereabouts. She may be on the Drake. She may be attending to business on the Starbase. I do not know.
Interesting. I've been looking for several of your commanding officers, and I've yet to find anyone, but you were the first one I saw, so
Hmm. So I am the first commanding officer of the Drake that you have seen actively working. Interesting.
point taken, Doctor. I will let you return to your jelly.
Yes. Well, we come in contact with lots of things that need jelly.
And so she departs from you and continues walking generally towards like where Drake officers are like milling about and stuff.
Mhm.
So in the mix of the USS Kiri-kin-tha is now getting boarding their ships, and they are departing from Starbase 2 permanently, as this has been their home over the last several months. And as Jahan is doing his own thing, you can tell me what you're doing.
Keeping an eye on all these new additions to the ship,
That makes sense.
overseeing, if you will.
So as you're doing that, you see another familiar face. You see Chief Engineer Naipar from the previous USS Varen, but now Kiri-kin-tha. And you guys have interacted before when you were on his vessel. And he's made his way and found you. And he says, Commander, I meant to give this to you months ago, but we missed each other in passing. I have found this, and I would like to share it with you. And so he shows you this. It is a dusty, broken, damaged remote of some sort.
Hmm. Similar of that to Earth remotes.
Yes, that is why I procured it. I believe that it had some connection to the things that you have mentioned.
Very retro,
Hmm.
as they would say on Earth.
Indeed, indeed. Retro, yes.
Ah, where did you come to procure such an item?
There was a merchant who was on Starbase too, and he had various things from out the galaxy, and I believed that this was connected to what some may call television.
Hmm. Yes. It could be very directly connected, or it may be remotely connected.
Hmm. A joke, Commander?
Indeed.
I have heard tales of your humor. They surpass their rumors.
Uh, they are not exaggerated. I appreciate the gesture.
I am glad that this gift has found you well, even though I was not able to share it with you months ago after the baseball game. I was glad that during our departure I could still find you and send a parting gift, essentially.
Yes, the departure from the baseball game was a little abrupt. Got a little hectic there.
Well, if I find any more such things, I will make sure to send them your way.
Ah, I would appreciate that greatly. I will stay tuned.
Hmm. I feel like this is another one of your humor moments.
Ah, you might get it someday.
Very good, Commander. Well, live long and prosper.
Ah, you as well.
And he continues on his way. So you are overseeing the installation and everything, and obviously things of this nature. So as you're looking over the manifest, you're seeing on the list several boxes that are labeled second edition Calto. And among those boxes are other things that have Vulcan writing on them that you believe are other Vulcan accoutrements. And they are labeled in the manifest to go to Lieutenant Sova and other Vulcans on the Drake.
Okay.
They are coming from the Kiri-kin-tha, who came from Vulcan and now are bringing things here.
I would be curious and I would just kind of check out one of the boxes just to see.
So, do you know which box you're going to open up, or you're just picking one at random?
Picking one at random, probably the closest one, like the one on top.
Okay. So one of the boxes that you end up opening is a crate that's filled with a couple of these kind of like square, kind of like potted plant kind of looking things, and it's just a box, and on it is very plain text of it just says in Vulcan script, and then it has an image of this like base, and then all of these metal pieces that are making some sort of shape. It
Yep.
kind of looks like a weird, like if you took DNA strands and like made it look like a beehive, that's kind of what the image looks like.
Okay.
It's safe to say that Arhat, he's not oblivious to things that Vulcans entertain themselves with, but at the same time, like this is just something,
Nothing
something,
I care about. It's like,
right,
okay,
right,
nothing dangerous, nothing wrong, just
right,
stuff.
just stuff. Okay, so everybody is off doing their own thing, enjoying their sweet time. Isaac, I assume, is with Jahan, overseeing those things. So, one of the noted people that came with the USS Kiri-kin-tha was Ambassador Solkar. Now, Solkar is the Vulcan who came to Earth and made first contact. He is quite old in age, and he has traveled here to Starbase 2 to embolden Captain Dupek of the previous Varen and his crew. Basically, give a nice big like Vulcan hurrah to them and their crew. And while he is on the station, he is scheduled to have an interview with Ewan Wu, a journalist for the Federation News. So as this is happening, Admiral Foxwell calls Lieutenant Commander Jahan and Commander Arhat to her office. Some time has now passed. Things are more, you guys are not left up in the air as we kind of were moments ago. The installations are pretty secure now. Transporter inhibitors aren't that difficult to install, and the research facilities were really just adding on modules. It was nothing really incredibly crazy that they needed to like dismantle the Drake or anything. So boxes of shipments that were coming from the Kiri-kin-tha are aboard, and the installations are near finish. She has you both come to her office, and as you enter and sit down, she says, "Gentlemen, I have some troubling news. It appears that our ambassador friend is suffering from some sort of ailment that I am not familiar with, and inadvertently, somehow his private logs that he gave during his visit to Earth originally, like over 100 years ago, leaked during the interview. We're not really sure what happened. Normally, it's not that big of a deal. It's his private logs. It's a little embarrassing, but it's not really a terrible thing. But then I was made aware that these logs were stolen off of journalist Wu's database, and it appears that these logs are pretty inflammatory towards the Andorian government. So we are going to try to bottle cap this before it reaches back to Andoria. That's our hope. So I need you guys to track it down to see where we know they were stolen, but where did they go to? We don't know. It would seem that it is a hacker of some sort. And if they stole them, we can be pretty sure that they're, while the logs are inflammatory and mature people can look past them, it's not beyond the idea that these logs could be manipulated to spin the narrative and turn Andoria against the Federation.
Just a coincidence, Commander, that you have the two Andorians looking into these things.
Well, these are the cards that I'm dealt. I would be having Captain Knightley and likely Commander Arhat here. Captain Dupek is pretty busy getting his new ship situated, and I haven't dealt with Captain Bahalia as much as this crew. So, yeah. Obviously, you're welcome to look at what the logs say. I'm not hiding that from you. But as you know, an individual is smart, but a group of people can be dangerous. So here is the log that we're most concerned about. Okay, so the log says Solkar, captain of the Taplana Hath log. The detection of the warp signature in the Sol system was unexpected. We were in the outer edges of the system, placing a subspace surveillance array to observe Andorian fleet movements as ordered. With the revelation that Earth had achieved warp travel, the logical decision was obvious: first contact, as a means of ensuring that the humans and their solar system more firmly lay with the Vulcan sphere of influence rather than risking any potential future alliance between the humans and the Andorians, which could lead to a strategic imbalance. The discovery that Earth had no central planetary authority complicated matters, to be certain. The launch site where we landed was little more than an outpost. The human responsible for the development of their warp drive, Cochrane, was undeniably a gifted engineer, but, in retrospect, stood as an exemplar of his species: undisciplined, intemperate, and highly illogical. Do either of you have any questions for me?
Is there any idea how the logs were taken?
According to the journalist, he set down his copy of what he was writing up, and then he noticed when he returned to his quarters that his like database that he was compiling was he could see that there was unknown access to his database, which means that we've been compromised here at Starbase too.
Lovely. Any idea if it was physical or remote?
It doesn't seem like, I mean, it's hard to really tell, but it doesn't seem like somebody physically interacted with his database, like with his computer or his pad. It seems like it was a remote signal from outside of Starbase 2.
Okay.
But I'm going to send you two on that to track it down, figure out what's going on here.
We're going to have to start looking into logs and
No, I understand.
all the information that we can find.
I understand. Now you have my full permission to dig into what you need to dig into. If it's not needed, if it's not necessary to look at, don't look at it. But if it's going to help, compile the breadcrumbs, by all means, dig in. So she shares with you. She hands you both like kind of smaller pads that have like Starbase 2 like official coding on it, like pins essentially, like passwords.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, these will be good for the next few days. So if you need access to something, this will give you permission to access whatever files.
Okay.
So what would be like the first thing you'd like to do?
I'd like to pinpoint the timeline of about when the information was taken and see if there's any ships in the area, or the problem is if it was someone who was purposely trying to take it, it may have been a cloaked ship and no one would know. But I figure start with who was on the base, who, and any ships around the base.
Okay. So probably the best place to go to access that level of information is to go to the Operations Center for Starbase 2, where Coben, the chief security officer, is at. He has like that's like the main computer hub. So a few minutes go by, you guys are going down the one of the lifts, and you as you exit into the corridor and you see like the main opening to this operation center. The starbase suddenly darkens, the lights darken, and the red alert klaxon begins.
Lovely.
Like,
Why we keep coming back here?
yeah.
I will take a chance to be who I'm meant to be. I won't let fear keep me from trying. It's time for me to make a change, to start living the life I want. I'm gonna reach for the sky, way up high. I'm never giving up. It's up to me to see who I can be, make dreams reality. I'm never giving up. 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 I'm never giving up.
So as you round the corner and look into the operation center, you see Coben he is at a computer station, and you can see that he has code in front of him, and he is like fervently trying to do something. You can't without getting closer to him, you can't quite see what he's doing.
Because it's emergency situation, I would walk over to them and ask, "What's going on, and what can we do to help?"
Okay. He says, Commander, perfect timing, apparently. I was trying to break an encryption on the compromised log that was stolen, but now it appears that some sort of digital counterattack is happening, and it's causing severe system failures throughout the starbase. So I'm anticipating that we likely need to do our own kind of cyber warfare in return to at least slow their efforts, and then we can start to fix the other problems. So let's start first with engaging whoever is hacking with an extended task. Okay, so it is engineering control, difficulty 2, a resistance of 1. You have 9 things on the work track. So you, Mike, can assist John. You can do a command presence,
Okay.
and then John, it's up to you, John, to fill the track.
Very good. I'm also a maintenance specialist,
Excellent.
one of my talents, which will allow me to ignore the first complication
I love
of
it.
an engineering task.
I love it.
How much momentum do we have?
0.
That
Nothing.
sounds like trash. Well, up yours, buddy, because I got 2 successes.
Okay. Did you get a success, Mike, or no?
Yes, I did get 1 success.
Look at that.
So we now have momentum.
So you can either bank that momentum or you can add it to the track.
I suppose I should add it.
Is your engineering a 5?
Oh, it is a 5, and I rolled a 5.
Do you have a focus in
Ground vehicles? Yes, I do.
No. Like
Emergency
computers?
response.
Okay, yes, I'll
That
take that.
counts. Yeah, baby.
So that would be 4 successes altogether, so you would have 2 extra momentum. So do you want to add both to the track?
I think that's a fine idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's a difficulty 1.
Oh. Very good. All right, I shall roll again.
Okay.
Okay, I got, well, let's see, an 18, which is not a success, but then I got a 2,
Okay.
which sounds like 2 successes to
2
me.
successes. Did you get a success, Mike?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I rolled a 10. That's what my presence is.
Perfect.
He's pointing at all the right things.
So that is 3 successes. So now you have 2 momentum, and the track is filled.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! So you have successfully been able to slow the efforts of whoever is hacking this station, but they were able to obviously, still sort of affect systems on Starbase 2. So either you two can run to a different part of Starbase and patch the systems that are being affected that are you have to physically interact with, or you can send Clark, and if you send Clark, I won't increase the resistance.
Clark, Clark, like just took his lunch break for the first time in like 3 days.
Commander,
Yeah,
the
but
decision is yours, but I did task him with watching a lot of CSI and Earth Show, which a lot of hacking goes on. So I think he might be more than well equipped.
okay. I think it would be a good idea to send him because we need someone to fix some of these systems while this is going on.
Okay.
I would agree.
So you, Clark, are sitting in the Starbase mess hall, wiping your face clean with a napkin, and you are just about to lean back, and your communicator goes off.
This is Clark.
We have an emergency situation here, Clark. We need you
That's
to fix a few systems. The Starbase is being hacked.
that's a surprise.
And just as he says hacked, all of the entire upper deck darkens, and the red alert klaxon goes off
On the ship.
on Starbase 2.
Okay. John, where was your homework CSI Miami?
So it was actually CSI Andoria.
Oh, that doesn't exist. Not even in this timeline does that exist.
It was all of them. They've added a lot more in the years.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy. All right.
So you are directed to go to where life support and the communication rays are so that you can patch and make sure that those two things do not go offline.
Okay.
So you hustle there.
I don't. I just walk
Oh, okay.
very
Nonchalantly.
yeah, just very leisurely.
So you get there,
Of
and you're going to have
of
an extended
course.
task now.
Of course this had to happen on my lunch break. All right.
So you're engineering fitness difficulty 2
Mhm.
with a resistance of 2, and you have a track of 10.
And you actually start off with 2 momentum, so
I need a 14, so I'm gonna just let the dice roll for this first one anyway.
Okay. Yep.
Unless these go horribly wrong, then I'll start using momentum.
Okay.
Well, they went horribly wrong, so
Excellent.
I got 0 on that one. It's because like he's like mad that he has to do this on his break, and he's just like not really paying attention to what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he hits like the
Well-
wrong button.
Well,
Oops.
if you use your cybernetic arm, you can lower the difficulty by 1.
Okay.
But if you roll a 19 or 20, you'll take stress
It's a
because you're
critical.
getting like electrocuted.
Nice. Is this a machine operation?
This is a machine operation.
That's good. That's handy. Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it.
16 and a delta.
So that's 2 successes.
2 successes.
So now you have an extra momentum.
Nice.
Do you want to take that momentum and add it to the track, or do you want to bank it?
Add it.
Okay, now
So
you have
it's
7 more on the track.
okay. Here we go. Let's roll again. An 8 and a 3. So that's 3 successes.
3 successes.
So
that
add that to
is
the track.
add that to the track. Okay. That is 4 off the track because you're adding both momentum to it. So you have 3 left, and now it's difficulty 0.
Okay. 6 and a 17. So that's just 1 success.
Okay, do you want to use that momentum to finish the track?
Yeah.
Okay. You successfully patch the station systems before life support and communication arrays go offline. So we cut back to Arhat.
He just nonchalantly like walks out of the room and goes back to the mess hall.
Okay, so we cut back to Arhat, who's down at the command center, and now it is your job, Arhat, to identify how the hackers gained access in the first place.
Okay.
You have, so it's security reason, difficulty 3, with a resistance of 3, and you have a work track of 11. And Jahan can assist you with engineering insight.
Now I do the pointing.
Yep.
I got 1 success.
And another.
Okay, so that wasn't enough. So you roll again.
I got 2 successes that time.
And another.
Okay.
So we got the 3 successes.
So what is your security a 5?
Yes.
Okay. So you have 2 on the track out of 11. Go ahead and go again.
Seven and 11. 2 successes.
3 successes.
Okay. More.
Ooh, 2 more successes.
3 more successes.
Okay, so now with that, now it is difficulty 2.
Okay. 1 success.
2 successes.
Okay. Okay, you only have 3 left on the track, still difficulty 2.
Wow.
2 successes.
I rolled a delta. Does that give us more?
Does give you 2 successes.
Heck
So
yeah.
that's 4 successes.
Woohoo!
That is 2 over. You have 1 left on the work track. So you can spend a momentum or you can roll again.
I'm debating on rolling again just so we can see if we can get a little extra momentum because we're a little low.
That's fine. So yeah, so difficulty
Spend it.
2. Resistance of 2.
I rolled a 2
Okay.
because I have computer security protocol. Does that allow me to
That's
get 2
totally fine.
successes?
Yep. So 2 successes there. Did you have another success?
Nope.
Oh. I had another success.
Hey, okay.
There we go.
Extended tasks are nothing to me.
So, okay, so that means 1 momentum. So that means you guys got to bank 3 momentum, I think, with that altogether.
Love it.
So what you discover is that this is coming in a reverse order. This type of attack, the cyber attack, is coming from within the network. Okay, it's not coming from like an outside source, it's coming from within the subspace communication network. And what you find out through your investigation that this is coming from the main hub communication array out in sector space identified as UFP 0814. So at that location is where all of this hacking is coming from. It is a Federation run communication array. And that array is the main station that relays all subspace communication from this area back to Starfleet Command and all homeworld communications, like Vulcan, Andoria, Earth, like literally everything.
Fortunately, Commander, it seems the call is coming from inside the house.
Correct.
Yeah. Is there any other information attached to it?
You can clearly tell that it is an active thing. There is somebody actively doing this. This isn't like a virus in the system that's just going haywire. Like somebody is actively hacking the network.
Okay. How far away is this location?
UFP 0814 is approximately 3 hours away at warp 6.
I think we're gonna have to go visit.
Okay, everybody load up on the Drake.
I would let the Admiral know that it is an active hacker. It's at this location, and we're gonna go check it out. There's a lot of information that can be sold, so the more they get, the more they have to work with.
Oh. All right, yeah, you have clearance to disembark from Starbase 2 and head to that communication relay. I'll hail them and see what I can get on our end.
Okay. I pile everybody onto the Drake and we cast off.
Okay. So you guys begin your 3-hour journey to this communication station. Is there anything you guys would like to do or talk about or anything like that before we advance 3 hours?
I would have sent a message to the captain. Has the captain responded at all?
No.
Didn't think so.
It appears either it has fallen on deaf ears or it's taking longer to reply than you anticipate.
Right.
Okay, yeah, so good. We'll advance to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. So you drop out of warp in the middle of sector space, and here you see a moderately sized, but not probably enough to hold a handful of people, maybe 20 people or so. You see this communication station just floating out there in space with these little like antenna, like multiple antenna arrays and like panels and stuff to intake as much information as possible.
Yep.
And it's rotating pretty quickly too. So
I assume we have to hail them, let them know we're here.
okay, so we'll have you roll then to see if you can get 6 momentum and max out. That is an engineering control difficulty 0. That's the open hails, and you can have Jahan roll that.
I should probably.
He's at comms.
I got 1 success.
Okay, there you go. Now you're at full momentum.
Yep, up to 6.
So you hail, you get no response.
Lovely. Is the spin too erratic for us to take a ship over?
Nope. It's just spinning. No, it's just spinning faster than normal stations that you're used to, but it's not difficult to dock to.
Okay.
Who was your away team?
I was thinking about going over.
Okay.
We need either Clark or Jahan, or
Okay.
both.
Okay.
We need engineers over there to figure out what's going on.
Would it be okay if Chu did a bioscan?
Yeah. I'm assuming there's somebody there, considering somebody's actively hacking. But it would be good to check to see how many people are there.
So that's a science control, and that's difficulty 0.
That's 2 successes.
Okay.
So since we're at full, I would like to use the 2 momentum to get like pinpoint on if there is bioscience, pinpoint where they are on the ship.
Oh, okay. So when you scan the ship, you're expecting to see close to 20 life signs. You do not see any life signs except for a single faint life sign that is in a like engineering compartment towards the bottom of the station.
Yeah.
Is there life support active throughout?
No, life support is not online.
Everyone's wearing suits. And I'm gonna grab Cybid.
Okay. So Jahan, Isaac, you are hit, and security officer Viren is what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
Okay.
Viren.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys aboard the shuttle, and as you are heading towards the station, what two guys are at the helm?
We could have me and Cybid at the helm.
Okay. So let's have you then, Mike. Let's have you roll con, insight, difficulty, probably two.
A 1 and a 10.
Oh, wow. So that's three successes?
Yes.
Perfect. Wow. So still extra momentum. If you want to do something with it, you can. Otherwise, it'll just disappear.
I think it's going to be just we connect very easily. No surprises, no issues.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sure. So what this this roll was for, but I will add that to this. So
Okay.
as you're getting ready to dock, you notice a kind of like a triangular kind of shuttle pod, and you recognize it as a Trill shuttle. It's something that you've maybe come across in your security briefings, you know, ships to recognize from new members of the Federation. So that's what you notice as you are docking. Okay, so you dock, you pressure seal against the station. What would you like to do?
I would do a scan to see if there's any booby traps or anything like that.
Okay, so you're just doing like a broad kind of scan kind of thing?
Yeah, see if there's anything out of place before I open the door.
Okay, so that's a science control difficulty one, we'll say.
I rolled a 1 and a 5.
Look at that. You're on a roll tonight. One and a
Yeah.
five. That's nice. Okay, so you scanned. Was there anything you wanted to do with the extra two momentum?
Trying to think if there's anything else that I can do that would be worth it. Because I'm assuming nothing showed up out of place.
Well, when you scanned, you don't see that the shuttle door is rigged in any way. You don't see anything like it's set to go off or that there's some sort of trap. What you do recognize is that it is zero. There is no atmosphere. There is no life support on the station. And
Right.
also your scanner is picking up bodies.
Lovely.
And you can still, we'll say with the momentum, you can still get a single faint life sign in a couple decks down.
Yeah. So we've pinpointed him. I would open the door and take in what is there first.
So when you open the door, it pretty much is a little bit of a corridor, and then but on the other side of the corridor is a main terminal area. It's multiple computer stations and things of that nature. I mean, exactly what you would expect, like almost like an office building to kind of look like, but just, you know, add a more Star Trek aesthetic to it. And there's just a lot of terminal stations, computer stations right next to each other. And at not all of them, but most of the stations, there are deceased individuals slumped over onto the computer stations, and there are a couple bodies out in the corridor. And they're all in Starfleet clothing. And all the lights are on, like everything is active. There's
Yeah.
just no life support.
I would have weapons out.
Okay.
I would start making my way toward the one life sign
Okay.
while kind of looking around, seeing if there's anything that I can see that would imply exactly what happened here.
So where that life sign is, you come to a basically like a hatch, and inside the hatch is a ladder that goes down 2 decks to another smaller area. That's what I'll just say that's what your hand scanner showed when you were like looking for situational things.
I'd look at Jahan and Clark and say, are we able to turn off his capability to hack from up here?
The answer is that you probably would have a good chance of at least attempting to.
Clark and Jahan, which one of you is better at working on computers?
Feel like it would be me, but
And do you want to give it a try and have Clark assist you?
I think 2 hackers are better than 1.
Yeah.
Oh, lose a momentum because you are on the station. Now you have 5 momentum. New scene. Okay, so what would you like to do first? Do you want to have them do the terminal stuff first, or do you want to progress down, or just work at the terminal?
I want them to check out the terminal, and I was thinking about taking the security officer to see if I can figure out where he is.
Okay, so we will put you guys in 2 different things. You'll open the hatch and go down the ladder, and as he's doing that, Jahan, you will roll a engineering reason difficulty 2. And you can be assisted by Clark with engineering presence.
I would love that from Clark. We're both on the same keyboard, just
Yeah.
hacking.
Yeah. Whatever letters and numbers you're missing, he's pushing the other
Yeah.
All right. So I got a miss on one of them, and then I got a 1 or a
Oh,
delta on the others, which makes it 2 successes.
wow, 2 successes. Look at that. Everybody's doing good with ones tonight.
Yeah, I rolled
Oh.
a Delta too.
You rolled a
Wow.
Delta 2?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Told
So
you
that's
Clark
4.
is like he's mad that he has to even do anything today.
So what you guys find out that the station's mainframe is being hacked from outside of the station. You can begin your efforts to essentially neutralize what's happening. But before we do that, we will put Arhat on the ground on the deck with Ensign Viren. And when you guys get to the bottom of the deck, when you come off the ladder, it is basically like like an access thing, and there's only a room ahead of you. You're like boxed in from the ladder, and ahead of you is multiple engineering stations where it kind of looks like maintenance and other types of things that like parts or something like antenna parts and panels and stuff. Like this is likely if something goes awry or there's work that needs to be done, this is where they keep things. But over in the far corner, there is a vertical chamber that has a light on, like a dimish kind of like golden light on it. And it has most of the small window that there is like frosted pretty high. It's not fully frosted, but it's pretty frosted over. So that's what you see in this room.
I use the scanner, and is the person over by the frosted window?
The person is inside of the chamber. And your readings show that the chamber has life support.
Okay.
If we open the chamber, will there be explosive decompression?
Yes.
I would venture over toward the chamber, see if I can figure out if I'm able to. Well, one, I'm debating on can I contact the person?
Okay.
But I'm also looking around to see like if how is it connected, where is it connected, and
Okay, so as you approach the chamber, you can see that there's power running right from the station to the unit. You can see that this looks like older technology. This looks like it's probably a couple decades old. It's not incredibly old, but it's old enough. And it seems Federation. This seems like old Federation tech. Do you peer into the frosted window?
I would first just walk around it, see if there's any type of communication capability. If not, then I would go to the window.
Okay, so you're walking and kind of looking around. It's pretty much in the corner of the room, so you can only kind of look at, clearly you can kind of only see like 60 to 75% of it. It's hard to see every single circular of it. On the outside, you can see that there are panels to see like temperature, oxygen rate, and like open the doors. You see like normal panels here. If you roll me a engineering reason difficulty 1, I will give you more information. You
I
can
got
have
a 1.
Oh wow.
And
Everybody's rolling ones
a
tonight.
1 and a 13. The 13, I needed a 12.
Wow, that's still pretty close though. So that's one extra success. So you can bank that and make 6 again. Or no, wait. Yeah, no, because you guys just met it, right? Your other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're at 6 right now.
Okay, so when you're kind of like analyzing this thing and looking at it, this is clearly what you know from like files of the early Federation days, that this type of thing is here for when the engineers were originally building this station and they needed to keep working here like overnight because this was like an important thing. They would just go in these chambers and like sleep and then get out. And it didn't matter if the station lost life support or power or anything. They were self-sufficient for a limited amount of time, and basically these engineers could survive in space for some time, if something was to go awry.
Mm-hmm. I'd walk over to the window, see if I'm able to like wipe anything away so I can see through better.
Okay, so you put your hand up to the glass and you start to wipe away some of the frost, and inside you see, and Eric can describe his character.
You see a middle-aged trill person.
Yeah, you can see that he's like an ambassador. He's in like ambassador like robes. He has like an outfit. He doesn't look injured. He's basically surprised to see
I
you.
would basically yell, "Can you hear me?"
Now, Eric, you can see his mouth moving, but you don't have any idea what he's saying.
Next thing I would do is I would look to see where the wires are running and see if there's like a computer interface that I would be able to talk to him.
Okay. There isn't like a communicator, like a out to in, but you could maybe jimmy something and see if you could talk to him.
Is there any type of like writing utensil?
Yeah, there's pads in here. There's pads that engineers have in here.
I would grab one of the pads and I would type out, "I am Commander Arhat of the USS Drake. Are you able to communicate with me in any way?" And just hold it up to the window.
So you hold it out. Let's have you, Eric, roll Science Insight difficulty 1.
12 and 8.
Okay, so you get that, so he gets some momentum. So you're able to, even though he's writing in English, you're able to read it and understand what he said.
And I have a pad with me as well.
Yep.
So I guess I'll say something like I'm Relin Zarin, a Trill Ambassador. I was shoved in here and there's no power and I don't know what happened. The last thing they said that there might be a ship somewhere close by. And I said that on the pad.
I would type, I will have to see if we can get life support up and running again because it would not be safe for you to open the pod.
Yes, please don't open the pod. Please don't open the pod.
I would communicate with Jahan and Clark if possible.
Yep, that's fine. Yeah, not a problem.
Let them know that I found the one person who's still alive and they're stuck in the pod right now. So our choices are get the life support up and running in this place, or teleportation is a possibility, but it's difficult. So I
Sure,
need.
seasoned hackers would be able to turn on the life support from here.
So I would first ask, are you able to get the life support up and running?
So when you are looking at the station, you realize that they have put essentially like a computer worm into the station, which is allowing them to have permanent access to the station, which is allowing them to dictate what happens on the station. Like they've taken over control.
You have a spacesuit.
That's true. How difficult would it be to transport a suit into his chamber?
I've seen new Star Trek, and that
No.
tells me we can beam a suit right onto his
I am
body.
not going to do that. I am not going to beam a suit onto the man. No way. No way, no how. You know what? You know why, Caleb? Because not this era.
No. Yeah, we haven't beamed stuff into Spock's eyes yet, so
No, not yet. Not yet.
that's coming.
I'm just wondering if we contact the Drake, can they get a lock on with the transporter?
Yeah, I mean they can also beam him out. That's true. Yep.
That's what I was thinking. Because if we get him out of there, we don't have to worry about explosive decompression.
Nope.
And Chew try use the sensors to lock onto him to see.
You can, but you will have to turn off the transport inhibitors.
Okay.
I'm not turning it off yet. I want to lock on first to see.
I'll have you rolls science control, difficulty 0, and you can be assisted by sensor science. Somebody can roll for that 10 while he rolls for the. Okay.
I did not make it.
Okay, and you.
So Chew has 2.
Okay.
I would like to use Chew's talent,
Mm-hmm.
which is technical expertise,
Okay.
which is when a task is attempted using the ship's sensors or computer, you may re-roll a d20, including the ship's. So I'd like the ship to re-roll.
Okay.
Okay. 14.
So still no. Okay. So could I use the 2 momentum I just did to make transporting easier, to reduce the difficulty?
Yes. That's fine.
So I will inform Arhat that I have a lock, but I need his authorization to turn off the inhibitors.
Yes. Turn off the inhibitors, beam him over, and then turn them back on.
Okay. Would it be myself or would it be an engineer that would attempt to transport her?
So low deck is the assistant person.
Okay.
It's engineering control.
Mm-hmm.
Difficulty 2, assisted by sensors engineering. And he has a 13.
Michael wants to roll for the ship again.
Sure.
I will roll for low deck.
No help.
Low deck at a 3 and a 13. So he has 2 successes.
There you go. And so Chew will flip it back on once the transporter is finished.
So you, Eric, are standing there. And next thing you know, everything kind of just goes like white. And then next thing you know, you are on a transporter pad on a starship,
Hmm.
and there is a dark-skinned Vulcan standing at the transporter console, and you hear him say, "Ensign, we have the Trill ambassador."
Thank you, Ensign. I will inform Tharhat.
I look at the security officer with me, and we head up to talk with Clark and Jahan.
Okay. So, Eric, do you have a D6 on you? Do you have a six-sided die on you?
No, just the 20s, but I'll put one up on the
Okay, okay.
5.
A 5. Okay. So, as you are stepping off of the transporter pad, you don't feel amazing. Yeah, a little woozy, and it almost feels like maybe the transporters messed with something internally.
Hmm.
The ensign walks over to you and he says, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, I'm feeling a little dizzy and nauseous, and something doesn't really feel right inside.
Well, let me get the doctor. So he goes over to the comm wall and he says, "Dr. House, we have some sort of situation with our visitor here who just was transported aboard.
Can he make it to medbay?
Can you make it to medbay?" How you feel is that you're not sure how far medbay is, but if it's farther than like probably 10 or 15 steps, that would be too much for you.
That would be a no.
Oh, no. Okay.
So he says, no, doctor, he seems unlikely to make it.
Okay, I'll be right there.
Okay. All right, let's cut back to you guys on the station. So you guys went up the ladder to the computer stations. What would you guys like to do here?
Which one of the arrays is sending the information? Is it random? Is it all of them? Is it a specific one?
Okay, so what it seems like what's happening is information is coming from the direction of the starbase. It is hitting the station. It is then being routed to somewhere and then coming back to the station and then going out towards essentially the location of Earth.
We can tell it's going somewhere, but are we able to turn off the arrays?
You can attempt to do that.
Jahan and Clark should do it because my way of doing it is probably not preferable at this point.
Okay, so let's have you guys roll a engineering control difficulty 1. So one of you guys can roll that, doesn't matter.
Being the senior engineer, I'll roll that. 3 successes from
Three
me.
successes. Look at that. So as soon as you start to pull the attention away from what's happening, like essentially you are trying to take control back, Jahan notices that a secondary worm virus goes off and your grasp of control starts to slip further.
He's got too many back doors into the system.
That's what they'd say on CSI.
Yeah.
Perhaps I'm able to track the location of where,
Mm.
yeah, where the data is, initially being
It's going
requested.
to.
Interesting. That is an extended task.
I what?
Wow. Can you believe it?
I'm shocked for one.
So it is con insight, difficulty 2,
My con is not quite as great as my engineering. I have a 13 total.
You do have full momentum, so you can use that if you care.
All right, I will purchase an extra die.
Is there someone who can assist him?
It would be a con presence would be the assist.
Here we go.
Command presence 11, Caleb. And John's rolling.
Oof.
Con insight.
Got one success.
14.
No.
Using another momentum to buy a die.
Very good.
How about 1, 2, 3, 4 successes?
Did we get a fifth success, Caleb?
Yeah. You did, actually.
Okay. So that's 3 momentum.
You can only bank 2.
What is your con number?
My con number's a 3
Okay,
successes.
you have 10 more on the track.
Oh,
You have 3 looming momentum.
then perhaps you shall infuse that momentum into the track.
I would love to do that. Okay, so now you only have 7 left on the track, and you can roll again.
Excellent. I would love to purchase a die.
Okay.
We got 3 successes.
No. Nothing from me.
Get
So
it together, man.
You have 1 looming momentum.
Just gonna bank it.
Ooh, just gonna bank it.
Do
So
we
you
got
have
3
6
left?
more on the track.
We have 4 momentum right now.
4 momentum. Then
Yep.
let me spend one of those and buy a die.
Okay.
Here we go. Wow. Okay, so I got a delta and 2 successes.
That's 4 successes. Is it 5
So,
successes?
Wow, yeah, I did.
Okay, so 5 successes. So that's 3 looming momentum. I think you have 3 right now banked, and you have 5 left on the track.
jam those right on the track, please.
Jam them, bag them,
Adding
tag them. Just like they say in
packets.
CSI, right?
Yeah. Adding packets to the transmission to see what data comes back from them.
Ever since you mentioned CSI, I have this overwhelming urge to just like scream the intro.
Okay, with that, you only have 1 thing left on the track. Your difficulty went down to 1, and your resistance went down to 1.
Then I will no longer need to purchase a die. 2 successes.
Look at that. So one momentum. Let's see if Caleb gives you another momentum.
He would love to do that.
He would love to do that.
And I will.
I will. So you can bank 2 momentum. So
Nice.
you are able to track that there is a vessel in a nearby asteroid field that you do not see on sensors, so therefore you believe it to be invisible. So he relays that to you, Arhat.
I'm debating on having everybody go back to the ship and see if we can figure out where that ship is. It doesn't seem like we're able to shut down their ability to take the information here.
Well, when you attempted to cut power or essentially subvert control back to the station, things seem to double down. You could potentially try to counter hack. Otherwise, you'll have to basically, you know, go to where the ship is. Like those are really your only options.
Yeah.
Invisible ship commander. I think it might be best if he doesn't see us coming.
Are we able to kind of triangulate using the information being sent to it about where it is?
You have an approximation of where it is. You don't have an exact coordinate.
About how far away do we think the ship is?
Oh, it's not. The asteroid field is relatively close. It's probably a minute or two at impulse.
I'll try again, see if you can cut off their ability to get the information. If that doesn't work, we're gonna have to go say hi.
Okay. So you crack your knuckles, Jahan, to get ready to counter virus. But before we do that, we'll cut back to the Drake. And we come upon House, who's coming down the corridor, and you see a middle-aged Trill that you're now familiar with from reports from the Federation, having, you're getting medical information, but it's not really rich in information, but you've seen pictures of Trill. He is in kind of really fancy garb, and he is pale in color, and he is like leaning up against the wall, and Ensign Lodak is yeah, is attending to him and trying to, you know, be good company while he waits for your arrival.
So I come down the hall. I see him. I put like my medical bag down and I say, "Oh, this will be a thrill." So I would like to scan him.
Very good. So that is a science control difficulty 1, but you'll have a complication range from 18 to 20.
I need a 15. 15 and a 13.
Okay. So you scan him, and this is the first time you're seeing Trill biosigns like to this level. And he clearly he's having like distress. His normal body is having distress. His heart rate is, as you would assume, is elevated. It doesn't kind of jive with how his body is reacting. You can see that his heart is pumping like fast. You can see that a lot of his nervous system is kind of going haywire. But the thing that really catches your eye is that there is some sort of long, pointy, extended looking weird thing inside of his abdomen.
Why do you do this? Oh God. Okay. House has like PTSD from the last thing that we dealt with. Okay, so I want to get him to quarantine. Does the Drake have like
Oh, like
medical?
stretchers?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could totally have one of those kind of things. It's not really a
How far are we from the med bay?
You are a deck above your sick bay.
Deck above. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I will come on the wall to Mescal and say, meet me with a crash cart.
And I found a bioscan. Can we show that first?
Yeah, you can show that. I think you have control still, Andrew.
Yep.
I don't want to see it.
So
Oh.
here is the bioscan that you see.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's cool. That's cool.
So the red thing with the tendrils is what you're
Yeah, oh
seeing.
yeah. Oh yeah. I see it. The evil looking carrot thing. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, evil looking carrot. Yep, you got it.
When
So
I was doing
Mascal says, "Yeah, I'll be right there."
when
Where
I
are
was
you
doing
at?
some research, Will, on drawing, I saw some stuff. All right, so she's gonna meet me, but I pick Eric up and carry him into the turbo lift.
So he's not really responding to you. So yeah, so you just kind of grab him and
Yeah.
you're going
So
with it.
I just kind of, cradle him and I get on the turbo lift. And when the door opens the deck below, Mescal is there and I put him on the cart.
And Mascal says to you, he says, "Oh, a trill."
And I say, "Yep." Wow, you're good.
He goes, "Yeah, the spots are a dead giveaway."
Yeah. It's a long time in the academy to come to that conclusion.
Yeah,
Well, anyway, we should get this guy to quarantine.
yeah. So you go to the med bay and you roll him in, and as you hook him up to the monitor, you get that same thing that Andrew showed you. That now you're getting like a heavier intensive reading, so it looks more nicer, like the thing that he showed.
Mhm.
And your education would tell you that he is requiring urgent medical care.
Yeah, which is going to be an extended task.
It might be.
Okay, so I tell him, I say, you need emergency surgery. I'm going to sedate you.
And all that you can say, Eric, the only thing that immediately comes to mind is you say is to protect Zarin. All right, that's what you would.
Right. Yep.
Let's have you roll medical insight difficulty 3 with the same 18 through 20 complication.
All right, what are we looking like for momentum?
We're maxed out.
Maxed out. That's great because I'm going to buy one. All right, I rolled a 3 and a 14, so that is 3 and one more.
So 3 successes.
Oh, actually, that was a 4, so that's 5 successes.
Oh, you rolled a 3. Sorry. Okay. So,
Yep. 3 and a 4 and a 14.
okay. Yes. So with 5 successes, you have the chance of to bank 2 momentum. Your medical insight tells you that the evil red carrot in his body is likely integral to his system, to his being. It doesn't
Mm,
seem like this thing seems really interwoven into his neural and physiology of his body. It is not like
but not like in a bad, like parasitic way.
doesn't seem like it's parasitic. It seems like his body complements it.
Okay.
And you also get the impression from the scans that like his body is perhaps like able to withstand this thing, whatever this thing is.
So going against my better nature, I would see that. And even though I want to take it out, I will look for other reasons why he's not doing great.
Okay, so that's medical reason difficulty 2.
I'll buy another dice. So I rolled a 16, which is one success, a 2, which is two successes, and a 14, which is one more.
So now you have the chance to bank 2 momentum. So your medical reason when you're looking at it, it seems like basically what happened was this thing in his body is in a state of shock that you would assume the transporter basically didn't realize there were 2 life signs, and maybe he's not really super connected as well as he should be.
Oh my God. Okay. Like as far as it being like wired into his organs.
Right. It seems like these 2 things are like the connections are kind of loose now. And it seems that the evil red carrot is drawing life like basically his body is dumping health support to this thing and like basically killing the body but giving life to this thing.
Can I inject it with like a hypo spray to heal it, or do I need to like shock it back?
What that kind of told you is that you're probably gonna have to open them up a little bit and kind of connect things back together.
So I am gonna have to do surgery, but reestablish connections.
Yeah.
Great.
So you're gonna perform surgery?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's cut back to the guys on the communication station.
God.
And Jahan and Clark are about to use a counter virus to neutralize the worms. And you know what that's going to be?
An
How's that?
extended task.
An
Oh, I
extended.
was gonna guess a regular task.
Huh. I was gonna guess.
Oh, it's way off.
So
I
that
was
is
gonna guess.
engineering reason difficulty 2.
We're maxed out on momentum.
Then I would love to use that momentum.
And you guys, it is a work track of 10.
2 successes
Two
for my first
successes.
roll.
Do you want Clark to point at things or no?
Absolutely.
Okay, so he'll
I
be
just point
engineering.
like I'm just like that's the ceiling. That's the floor.
So that's engineering presence.
One success.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
That's
3
the keyboard.
successes. Okay, you have 8 more on the track with a looming momentum.
I would like to gently place that momentum in the track, please.
You can. So now you only have 7 more to fill.
Nice.
Great.
Roll again.
I'd like to use a banked momentum to buy another die.
Very good.
I achieved a 3
Wow, 3
and
successes.
3 successes. Yeah.
Does he have 4?
One, yep.
Oh, 4. Okay, so you have 2 extra momentum.
Yep. Put those very
Put those
nicely into the
right
track.
in. Okay, now it is difficulty 1.
All right. This time I will not buy anything.
Okay.
How many more tracks we need to fill
4.
up?
You have 4 more spots.
All right. I'll just roll. That would be 3 successes.
I got one.
3 successes. Oh, wow, look at that. So 3 looming momentum. And you have 2 on the track to fill.
So if I
Remaining.
bank 1 and apply 2, then we're done.
Then you're done.
Then that sounds gravy.
Excellent. So, Jahan, assisted by Clark Arhat, they are able to neutralize both the originary digital worm virus and the secondary worm virus by creating their own counter virus. They now are gaining access to the station.
We've locked the back door and opened a window.
If we're in full control and they don't have any more access, I would like to try and figure out who they were. Is there any information that might give away who they were in the computer system?
The only thing that you can see is that they are using Starfleet codes, but that's about it.
Are those codes assigned to a specific ship or person?
The identity comes up as a Lieutenant Rickson, Samuel Rickson. What comes up on the file when you click onto his Federation, his Starfleet record, he has been within the last 90 days, he's been disgraced and marked as a defector from Starfleet.
No.
Dun, dun, dun.
It must be somebody else.
I would like to put a security code onto his basically ID so he can no longer use his ID.
Okay. You also notice that he formerly was a part of Starfleet intelligence. Okay, so
Credentials didn't get revoked upon being disgraced.
I don't know.
No, it's
That's what
Starfleet.
seems interesting, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so you, Arhat, can do security control difficulty 2.
2 successes, and it would be considered 3 if you give me the computer security protocol.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Okay, so that is 1 extra momentum. Are you at max, Andrew?
We are now at max.
Now at max. Okay, so you put a little thing in there so that they cannot retain control again. You flag their things as, problem codes.
Yep.
Now, Jahan brought up a good point that why were these codes not deleted if he's a known defector?
Yeah. That's something we're going to have to look into. I would ask Jahan and Clark, do they want to stay or do they want to go back onto the ship because I'd like to go try and figure out where they are.
Perhaps we
Dinner,
on here could
dinner.
use the computer to pinpoint the exact location of the ship with our reverse virus that we planted.
Yeah. I'm sure the chef has already stopped serving dinner, so I'll just say,
Mm, listen, Clark, a good hacker always packs a lunch, and I take out a sack
God,
of burgers.
mm. I hate you so much. Oh,
But he's in it. Remember, he's in a EVA suit, so he can't enjoy it.
yeah.
They
Nope.
just float.
He does that like all like pridefully, and then like without even thinking, he just like smashes it on the glass.
Okay. That is going to be an engineering control difficulty 3. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, not
And a
extended.
complication range of 17 to 20.
That's nasty. It's diabolical. Well, I do have something to prove, which happens to be one of my values, and the proof is that I am the #1 hacker in Starfleet.
And all of Starfleet. Okay.
Yep. So a determination point shall be used. Now, I also am a maintenance specialist, which, if you recall,
Yep.
may ignore the first complication rolled on any engineering task.
Very true.
Mhm.
And then I shall use how many momentum to buy 2 dice?
3.
3.
I will buy them. Who's
You're only-
assisting me?
I can assist you.
Okay.
Excellent. Here I go.
That'll be engineering insight, Caleb. Go ahead when you're.
You are not gonna believe this.
Oh, no.
5 successes,
oh,
Not counting the
not counting
battle.
the automatic one.
Wow.
Well, I add 1 to that, so
So that's 8 successes.
And that ship just explodes out there.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I can like try to peter that out anymore. That's a pretty massive success there. So
We could fill all of our momentum up and still have plenty to work with.
yes. So what happens is with the combination of Jahan and Clark assisting him, Jahan is able to basically he kind of gives like an olive branch back out to the ship to be like, oh, just kidding, we are not really taking control of the station. And the hacker latches onto this foolhardily, thinking that this is a entrance back into the station. And once that happens, their ship is revealed in the light of day. They are no longer invisible in the asteroid field, and you can see that it is a covert ship, not a military vessel, and it is just sitting there ripe for the picking in the asteroid field. I'll even go as further to say that this Trojan horse kind of virus thing, like, basically cuts off his capability of like weapons and engines. He is a sitting duck in this asteroid field.
Could we beam him out if we wanted to?
You could, but you'd have to turn off the transport inhibitors.
Well, I was just asking for a friend anyway.
are we banking 3?
That leaves you with 5, and it would take 2 momentum to make that happen. So you just will be at full momentum.
Okay.
Take a penny, leave a penny.
So yeah, so what would you like to do, Arhat? I mean, this thing is just floating there.
If the ship is just floating there, I want to go see if I can get that ship.
Okay. So you guys are gonna board the shuttle, return to the Drake, and head on over?
Yep.
Okay. So into the shuttle you go. You pile back into the Drake, and the Drake begins its move to the asteroid field. Caleb, are we able to move back to you for surgery?
Oh yeah. I'm ready for
Oh,
surgery.
he's ready. You're going to roll a medicine control difficulty 2,
Ooh.
complication 19 and 20.
All right. So I'll buy one.
Buy one.
It's two successes and two more successes.
Nice. So you begin your surgery and you're cutting into his abdomen and you're moving things aside. I think Andrew wanted to show you something terrible.
Yep. This is what you see.
Yep, that looks good. This is to be expected. So
Yep. Looks great.
everything seems to be going as planned. Mhm.
So while you're in there, you're
Mescal
basically
is assisting me, right? I assume.
oh yeah. So you two are standing there and you're putting these pieces that, these things that seem to go together. It makes logical biological sense for these things to go together. But again, it's kind of a gamble because you don't know his species physiology.
Yeah, just like soldering strings.
Yep.
Nice.
Once you solder some of those strings together, you can see that his blood pressure, his heart rate, his nervous system starts to lessen,
Okay.
and he goes into a better normal rhythm, and he seems to be stabilizing.
You did it.
You did it. Okay. So you patch him back up and you leave him there on the bed.
Can I have him recover fully in quarantine?
Yeah, you mean like put him in the decon chamber, or do you just mean like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, sure.
Like on the bed, just put the bed in there.
Okay, so you want to put like a stretcher kind of bed in there for him?
Yeah, because I still don't fully like trust this thing.
The evil red carrot.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, like, I know it's like helping him, but also like I've seen too many parasites over the past month and a half that
Fair enough.
I'm not
Yep.
ready.
Okay, so we cut back to Arhat. You are on the bridge. The Drake is closing in on the vessel. You can see it. The Drake is triple the size of this vessel.
First, I'm going to hail them to see if they respond.
Okay, so funny enough, I'm going to remove a momentum to start a new scene. So now it makes sense to have Jahan roll engineering control 0 to get momentum back. You can be assisted. I think it's like computers engineering or something.
Be 2 successes at 3 technically because I did a 4.
Or the ship got a success.
Nailing it today.
You have a focus in like talking communications?
Me?
Yeah.
He is the communication officer.
You would think I would, but no. No, I don't. Machine operations.
No.
Ground. No.
No,
Well,
no,
All
no.
right. All right.
Okay, so 3 because the ship succeeded, right, Andrew?
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe
So
bank one.
so you can only bank one. So we'll dump that into the hail. We'll just force this guy to answer even if he doesn't want to, because that's what we'll do with the extra momentum. So on the screen comes a human officer who matches with the Starfleet record, and he says, "Oh, yeah, okay. Figured this was either going to happen or not going to happen. So before you either take me aboard your vessel and bring me to Starfleet justice, let me offer you some choices.
I'm listening.
Let's say we let this log transmit, and the Federation and those supporting the Federation learn the truth of Vulcan's early maneuvering, and therefore causes the Federation to own up to its past. So let me transmit this. Or you can stop it from fully transmitting, but I mean, you're an Andorian yourself. You would be concealing historical truths.
The thing is I know that the Vulcans are a bunch of idiots. Whether it transmits or not, I don't care.
So it sounds like you're more on my side of things.
I've never trusted them. But at the same time, I don't want a new war from this information leaking out.
So it sounds like my options is this isn't going to go out. You're going to bury the truth, and I'm going to be in Starfleet handcuffs.
Basically, yeah. I'm not going to bear the truth. I'm going to give the information to the Admiral and let them decide what to do with it.
I will admit, I am surprised to hear this from an Andorian.
Oh, I don't trust Vulcans. The Vulcans and the Andorians were in a war. If it was the Andorians, they would have done the exact same thing.
Well, I think I'm done talking. Doesn't sound like we're really on the same side as I thought we were.
Obviously not. You chose to turn your back on your people.
He doesn't say anything.
Yep.
So he closes out the log or the transmission. What would you guys like to do now?
So I would probably send a shuttle over
Okay.
to get him. I would send a couple people over in order to see if they can get that ship up and going so we can take the ship with us.
Okay. So you depart with the shuttle. Is it just security officers or are you going over there too?
I'd probably go over there, mainly security officers and a good pilot.
Okay. So Milak and you and a couple officers then.
Yeah.
So you go over, you dock with his vessel. There's no resistance because his vessel is offline.
Yep. I'm assuming there's no resistance from him where he doesn't want to fight us.
Nope. Yep. When the door is open, he's on his knees facing away from the door with his hands behind on his head.
I'd have the security officers take him into custody.
And he is brought onto the shuttle. And then you guys are gonna like commandeer the vessel.
Yes.
You don't have to roll. We'll just say that like you were able to basically take the thing that Jahan sent and just basically type in coding to get it to turn off. And now the ship is restored. Who will you leave here to warp back to Starbase 2? Like, who are you going to leave on this thing to control this to Starbase 2?
I'd probably have Milak pilot the ship.
Okay. So Milek stays with the vessel. The other bunch of you board with Rickson, and you get on, and you progress back to the Drake. Get onto the Drake with him, put him in the brig.
How fast can that ship go?
It can go about warp 5, so if it takes you guys like 3 hours, it's going to take him like 5-ish or plus hours.
I would probably more or less match his speed. That way I can stay with him.
Okay. So you guys begin your 5-ish around travel back to the Starbase. And in those 5 hours, you, Eric, you awaken in the decon chamber, which is like a secondary kind of like quarantine room.
Hello?
You feel much better. You feel like things are going okay, and that whatever was going on, it seems like it was taken care of. And in the room, you see like a comm panel that you can access.
So you just see like House on the outside of the glass. He's just eating, and he's like, "So who's your friend?"
Yes, that is my symbiont, Zarin. Trills have, well, not all trills, but quite a few trills have a symbiont that is made up of several centuries of lives of
Yeah.
trill beings through the years.
Oh.
Yeah. So that must have been what happened during the transport.
Yeah, I've never operated on a trill before.
Well,
So
thank you for saving my life.
I think I put all the wires where they belong, but I don't know.
Everything feels right.
That's good.
Wait, wait. Yeah, it's telling me it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, House, are you going to leave him in the decon chamber?
No, he can come out of the decom chamber. I open up the door while I'm
Oh, okay.
talking. Anything else medically? Anything else that I should take care of?
He's
I think
probably
I'm
really
okay.
hungry. He's probably
Yeah.
very, very, very hungry. He's
Mm.
probably hasn't eaten in
Yeah.
quite a long time.
I was in that. I got pushed into the chamber to save my life, and I've been waiting for someone to rescue me for the past, was it 5+ hours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What do you got there?
Well,
And I was almost out of oxygen.
let me show you the way to the mess hall.
Sounds good to me.
So you guys journey down to the mess hall, and your character Eric, he sees kind of like what like humans are doing on the starship. Now you've been on the star base and you've been on the communication station, but you've not yet to be on a Starfleet vessel. So it's not like unusual to see them sitting and eating and enjoying meals, but this is the first time having this type of experience.
Mhm.
What did we do with the? Did we put that guy in the
He's in the brig.
brig? Does he need anything medically?
It would probably be protocol that you would look him over.
I want to go see him. I want to go see him.
Okay. So you go down to the
Will,
brig
Will
and
loves this stuff when I throw in.
it's fine.
We got nothing written for this guy.
So you go down to the brig and you go to the door and you see him. He's sitting on the cot and he's just staring off.
So I'll scan him with the hand scanner just to make sure he doesn't have anything going on.
So that'll be a science control difficulty 1, and the complication range will be 17 to 20
Why did you keep adding these complication ranges?
because I like it.
We have full momentum if you want to use any.
5 and a 3, which are both under my medical number.
Wow. So you got 4 successes,
Oh no, actually my medicine is 4, so just 3.
3 successes. So do you want to spend those 2 memento?
No, I want to use them. I want to use them for questions.
Okay.
Is he medically fine? He's medically
So when you
sound.
scan him, the hand scanner jarbles a little bit, and for a moment the hand scanner shows his bio readout changes a couple times on the hand scanner.
That's not normal.
He's a hologram. No.
Okay. So instead of using the momentum for questioning, can I use the momentum to dig into that a little bit more?
Sure, yeah. So when you like dig into like the scan, it basically there was a very brief moment that you could like track and go. If you go into like a diagnostic setting of your hand scanner, you can kind of go back, track like little bits at a time. And you can see there was for a brief moment his bioscan did not register human and it registered something else that you don't know what it is.
Oh my! I might know. I might know. Interesting. Interesting. No, and nobody's talked to him, right? The Tharhat, you didn't question him.
Well,
Why
I
am I?
questioned him. He didn't like our conversation, so I stuck him in the brig.
So that's interesting to me. So I just look at him and I say like, everything you medically you're fine. You don't need my help for anything.
No.
I want to ask him if like What were you hoping to gain?
Just have the rest of the Federation know the truth.
As far as who?
I mean, shouldn't Andoria know about this?
As far as I'm aware, Andoria, Vulcan, and humans all know.
They know that they spied on each other, but they don't know that they've been controlling the humans for this long.
I don't think that our humanity record has shown that we have been in under control. We went to space earlier than we were supposed to. A lot of our early captains flied in the face of the Vulcans telling us not to go to space, and we still went to space.
I agree, but this also shows that a revered individual was not as wholesome as he's been let out to be.
Hmm.
And you and I both know that Andorians are pretty fiery individuals. It wouldn't take much,
Yeah, so are the humans.
but a human's talking to me.
Well, as far as you know, and as far as I know, I'm talking to a human.
Fair enough.
There's always things that are more than skin deep, but the greater good is always the number one cause.
And I feel that the greater good is telling historical truths.
Sometimes historical truths need to be forgotten for peace to lead the future.
I have nothing to say to that.
I hope you have a good trial.
I'm sure it will go exceedingly well.
Let me take a DNA sample.
So you come back into the room. Do you tell him what you're doing?
Yeah, I tell him that I was re-looking over my scan and I noticed that he had a parasite. And I'm gonna give him a antibiotic shot for it.
He says, "Describe the parasite, doctor."
It's a just a common space parasite. We see them all the time.
You can leave the hypo spray in the tray, and I'll administer it myself.
Yeah, I could, but so here's the thing. I went to Starfleet Academy for many years, and I'll be the one to use the hypo spray.
I suggest you do not enter the room.
That's that's interesting.
Didn't the last one we were interrogating burst into flames?
Oh yeah, you're right. Thanks for reminding me of that. The last one killed himself. No, because what happened last time was I pushed and I failed a check. All right, so let me get security in here.
Okay. So you call for security, and immediately, Arhat, you are alerted that security is being called to the brig.
Security would beat me there, but I would head down to the brig.
I'll
Okay,
definitely
so
wait. I'll definitely wait for our hit to get there.
oh, okay, okay.
I don't
So
trust his lackeys.
so in
I know
walks
he does, I don't.
so in walks two security officers in Arhat.
So I just tell Arhat, I need to administer medical, but he is refusing and he is also threatening me.
What is the medical spray, hypo spray for?
I want to take a blood sample. My scan showed something weird. I I I think he may not be human.
That would catch my attention, and I'd be like, is there a better way to do it other than go in there? Because otherwise, we're going in.
He is under the assumption that I'm giving him a antibiotic for a parasite, and I can't have him do it himself. I need to just take the sample. I don't think there's any other way to get it without holding him down at this point. I'm just worried. Last time I did this, he didn't he bite down on like a cyanide capsule.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to.
Broke a fake tooth.
Yeah, he broke a fake tooth. Yep.
So when we open the door, we gotta like do it quick.
Okay. I'm not happy about it, but at the same time, if there's a danger to the ship, we have to do something.
Can't you like gas them?
Yeah.
He
Knock 'em
could.
out.
It'd just be a complicated engineering role because like there's not really a setup for that in the brig.
Toss a grenade in there.
Toss a grenade.
You could throw a stun grenade in there. Yep.
Oh, what if we beam him into handcuffed medical lab? What if we did that?
You can beam him into the medical lab, but somebody's still got to put restraints on him. I'm not gonna beam restraints onto him.
Come
Yeah,
on.
it's also a difficulty of 4.
Yeah, worth it. All right, let's just go and pin him and I'll inject him.
So you got who's at point.
Let's say Slappy's at point.
Slappy
So
McJohnson.
Slappy, they all go forward, and House roll medicine insight difficulty 1.
I needed 14 and I rolled a 14 and a 2, so 3 successes.
So when that happens, when the door, just as the door is about to open, you see over the head of Slappy and Arhat and everybody, whoever's ahead of you, you see the guy inside the thing shift his jaw.
Oh my god. No, not again.
So
Can
you can
we
roll
stun him quickly?
medicine daring difficulty 4.
Oh my god. What's are we full on momentum or no?
Well, momentum, and you have a determination point if you want to use it.
Yeah, I think we need to, right? I mean, this is pretty important stuff. I think this guy's connected to the other guy that did this. I think it's all a big conspiracy.
You can tell Slappy to slap him across the face, see if you can knock him out.
I want Arhat to just like reach out and just like grab his jaw and just like hold his mouth open.
Well, honestly, Slappy would be a better one to do that because he is hand to hand, and his specialty is slapping people across the face to try and knock them out.
Okay, well, hey, I'll let an assist of security daring.
That sounds like a very, very unique value that he needs to use.
It's his background.
Roll me a security daring from Slappy, and but it's an assist. So
They don't call him Slappy for nothing.
That's true.
If you use a determination point, you get 2.
So if you use a determination point and get 2, I will spend 3 momentum to buy 2 extra.
okay,
All right, does that sound good?
yep. So you'll be rolling 4 dice.
So I'm going to roll 4 altogether. I already have 2.
So you're using a value.
Slappy, no doubt, has already helped.
You're using a value though, Caleb.
Yeah, I'm going to use my value of everybody lies.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. What was it? Medicine insight?
Daring. Medicine daring.
Medicine daring. Okay.
I say,
I need
is Slappy doing just 1 dice?
1 dice.
So I need a 14. I got a 12 and a 4, which is my medicine.
Oh, so close. He needed a 14, he got a 16.
Okay.
And a 10 and a 19, so 1 more. So that's 3.
So 3 successes plus your value is 5 successes.
Right. Okay. So
Okay.
I add that one back to momentum, or can I use that to make this like a flawless? He does not get the chance.
I will let you spend that momentum. So literally what happens is you watch Slappy goes to like cuff him,
Just nail him,
but he misses him. And
No.
as you're injecting like to draw blood on him, he literally disintegrates, but you have blood in the vial.
Yeah, I was hoping Slappy would be able to knock the tooth out.
Uh,
So
Blam! There goes the tooth.
how many disintegrations before the Admiral looks into this?
well, if you remember, the Admiral never once pointed at us and said no disintegrations.
That's true.
So I just like I'm holding the vial with the blood in it, and I just like look at Arhat,
And all of the little bits of this guy just burn away. There's nothing in the brig.
Mhm. I just say, lost another one.
Clean up aisle one.
Yeah.
Okay, we're pretty much at the end, so what would you guys like to do?
I mean, I can examine it next time. I can get into that.
Okay,
I'm sure that'll
okay.
be an extended task or something.
I like that. Okay. Okay, anything else? We'll put that on hold until next time. Any
Eric's just eating like just tons of food in mess
And I'm
hall.
going to take a big nap.
I like it.
I got a big pot of red bed on if somebody wants to try.
Okay, so you guys make it back to Starbase 2, and uh you go to meet with Foxwell, and in Foxwell's office is Ambassador Solkar, who has been brought in for questioning, but he is acting very erratic and like shouting and yelling and being very combative.
This is the Vulcan guy, right? Yeah.
This is the Vulcan. He's not being aggressive, he's not being violent, he's just being very
Is he
boisterous.
just like overly worried that his log is out in the ether? Or
Yes, he's concerned about that and that he's angry. He's angry that personal logs were shared and that all of this effort that he put into like bringing Earth and Vulcan and Andoria together is being like unraveled.
well, he'll be happy to know that we got it.
So you guys go in and tell the admiral and everything like what went down, and she presents that. Um, so what do you tell her about the hacker? Because you clearly bring the vessel, like the vessel is now at Starbase 2. So she wants to know what happened to the hacker.
Here's his ship, and here's
Yeah,
his blood.
well, I would tell her that he committed suicide. He offed himself
No.
after we had stopped his plans. It
Oh.
doesn't seem like he was able to transmit the information. Of course,
Okay.
the information he told me, regardless if it's true or false, doesn't really matter at this point, in my opinion.
Oh. Well, we'll have to. I mean, it's out there now. It may not have gotten all the way back to Earth, but it's out there, right? I mean, we have to address it. So, to wrap it all together in a bow, um, Starfleet Command is set to issue an official response that um, and they choose, and based off of what you guys indicate, that this isn't really, it's not great information, but it's also not like going to end the world kind of information.
Mm-hmm.
So they they're prepared to repair the Federation's reputation with Andoria once this hits Andoria's doorstep. Um, the thing that Jahan noticed when he was at the communication station, when he was working there, was that by opening by extending an olive branch, a digital olive branch to the other ship, he discovered that he had access to classified Federation intelligence. So essentially, you guys have to go, like, somebody's going to have to go back to the station and deal with the aftermath of all the dead bodies and also retrieve the ambassador's shuttle. So that'll be something for you guys to think about if you want to peek the door open a little bit farther on what Jahan saw. Basically, the way to look at it is you gained access to classified files.
Did I see, like, read these things, or just like this is a classified file, it hasn't been opened,
Yeah,
or
you didn't open anything. I mean, because that wasn't what you were trying to do. You were trying to like prevent something, but the files that you were seeing were clearly labeled as Starfleet intelligence classified information.
So in next episode, we can decide: do we want to go back and look at
Right,
classified information or not?
right. Um,
I think it would also depend on what the classified files are named to pique people's interest.
true.
It's like mundane file one. Eh.
Yeah. So it is now evening time. Everybody is back you're coming off and on the Drake. You're getting ready to begin another mission, but you're also expecting to talk to Admiral Foxwell in the morning after waiting for 24 hours for the Captain Knightley to get back to you. As you're in your quarters, Arhat, and just kind of going over the day and milling and like really kind of sinking in the feeling of like what does this really mean to Arhat? Like now that he's an Andorian, he's learning about this thing with this revered Vulcan ambassador from 100 years ago. Like, does it matter to you? Does it or does it not? Like, as you're contemplating that kind of thing, a little blip comes up on your station that you have received a communication.
I go to check the communications, see what it is.
So as it pops up, it is not Federation, is not within the Federation sub network. It was flagged as non-priority due to that. And what it is yesterday morning, a message came in, and it is Captain Gowry asking to meet the Drake in yeah. To meet the Drake in 4 days in a location uh like in a mutual location away from the starbase. Not that far away.
I would respond to, now that I got the message, I would respond
Right.
to the message saying that um, as long as everything goes well, we should be able to meet without an issue. I would like to hear from the captain so that I know that she's still doing well.
Okay. So you send that back to Gowry's Captain Gowry. That as long as things go well, you'll meet up with him, but you look forward to hearing from the captain herself.
Yes.
Okay. So we will wrap it up with let's have Chu roll science reason difficulty 1 as she sits at her sensor station on the bridge.
Okay, so since it's 12, I'm gonna buy an extra dice.
Okay.
1, 7, and 19, so 3 successes.
So you 2 momentum back or whatever if you can if you have it. Yeah. So what she sees at her station is that long range sensors pick up the warp signature that was previously scanned when the Drake was being bombarded by digital code.
Oh man.
And they were trying to access Jahan's antenna.
They're back, huh?
And that's where we end episode 3, the Solkar letters.
And Hack the Hacker.
That's right. Yeah, so next time it'll be pretty much a month from now because of everybody's pretty much busy. Um that will be our episode 4, the mending. That'll be the return. And I believe, according to Caleb, that one is slated to be in person because that will be our like bi-weekly finale, even though it's a month later.
Yes. That one is good.
Okay.
Yeah. I have episode 5, right?
You have episode 5. So as soon as 4 ends, it's on to you. Okay.
You become game master, or how's that? Is that
Yeah, he takes over for
okay?
that mission. Yeah.
Cool.
So until next time.